Ever wonder why, despite spending almost every single day together, you and your partner might feel a little disconnected? Us too. That's why we're going to share a powerful tool with you, and it's called the Nightly Review. The Nightly Review is a simple practice, but it's challenging. It requires you to go within and look at yourself and your role that's in the relationship. The blame game will be over and your communication will skyrocket. It'll be totally different. You see, the issue is we go through our days like normal, not letting our partners know how we're doing emotionally or spiritually. Good morning, how was your day at dinner? It's just not enough.
Sharing our emotional and spiritual state is where true intimacy lives.
It's where love exists in long-term relationships.
We have found a format to follow every night that is up to each other in a constructive way.
It has taught us so much about each other because we are truly letting each other in on our personal daily struggle. And it allows us to be there for each other.
There are 9 key sections to this video, and I can't say that the last one is the most important, so stick around or any of that kind of YouTube psychology stuff, because each key section is really important to understand.
If you are serious about connecting together, you and your partner should watch this together. Hi, I'm Erika, and that's Matt. We've been doing the Nightly Review for years, and it has taken our communication to another level. Now let's get into the Nightly Review.
The Nightly Review is a list of questions that we ask ourselves and our partners at the end of the night. Most of the time, the morning is when we are spending time with ourselves. Like, I like to go outside and read and meditate. Erika likes to go for a run and go to the gym. But at nighttime, after the stresses of the day, normally we can get kind of wound up, and there's usually some bad thoughts and different things that we did throughout the day that need to get addressed. So tomorrow we can try to do better. This is all about individual growth and having our partners in our relationship help us on our own individual journey, which strengthens the relationship.
So when Matt introduced the Nightly Review to me, I had a hard time with it because all of a sudden I had to look within and find my part in it. And although I claim to be not selfish and all those things, doing the Nightly Review was this mirror all of a sudden that forced me to reflect. And, years ago when we started, it was really hard for me. It took us a long time to get through.
Okay, so this first part of the Nightly Review is the most important to understand. Even if we're upset with somebody else, we're going to look at why we are upset in the first place. It's really beneficial. Let's start with resentment. Resentment can kind of be this big bad word of I hate somebody, but in this reference, we're not going to refer to that. If we had ill feelings really towards somebody else today, that we're going to consider resentment.
So let's do a silly example, the dishes. Every household knows they have to be done, and sometimes there's turmoil over it. So Matt didn't do the dishes, and in my mind, I had been doing them all day long, so I wanted him to do them, or I thought he should at least been aware of that and taken over for me. And that was my resentment.
So this word selfishness is super important. It's going to change your life if you really understand what it means. And the way that it's brought up to me long time ago, a guy told me this, that me being selfish is anything that I wanted or I thought. And it really makes sense. I wanted something to happen. It didn't, so I got a resentment.
Where I was selfish is I wanted Matt to do them. And because of my expectations were let down, that's where the resentment came from. So for this to work the way it's intended, you have to completely disregard the other person's fault. Should Matt have done the dishes? Yes. Did he? No. We got resentful because we ourselves wanted something to happen and it didn't.
Dishonest isn't just about lying. There's so many different ways to lie. There's a lie of omission, which means you just don't say the truth to somebody, like you just leave it out. On our website where you can download the Nightly Review as like a PDF, I'll also have a bunch of definitions and different ways of being dishonest that you guys can take a look at and hopefully learn from.
So I was dishonest by simply not seeing the truth. I don't know what kind of day he had. I didn't even know what he was planning. Maybe he was not doing the dishes because he was preparing a nice movie night for us or something like that. So not seeing the truth kept me dishonest in that situation.
Fear is really sly, and it's really hard to identify sometimes when it's there. And there's a lot of different forms of fear. Fear of people's approval, fear of rejection, all these different fears. But as we are reviewing, we're going to try to see, did we have any fears today, like financial fears that come up, or fear of not being loved, or whatever it might have been.
The fear, that was not being appreciated. I thought he should have appreciated that I've been doing the dishes all day and stepped into them for me. So fear of being disrespected, not appreciated, all of those things. At the end of the day, I had to realize that I got upset with Matt because I had expectations. I thought they should have been done quicker or sooner or at a different time, but that was on me. The thing to understand is if we're dependent on our partner's actions to be happy, then we're probably not going to be happy most of the time because, surprise, we're human, and humans do silly things sometimes.
The best definition of love that I've ever heard in my whole life is out of a book called The Road Less Traveled by Dr. Scott M. Peck. His whole section on love blew my mind. It was actually all about what love is not, which is really important for me to learn. But he said the best definition that he could have of love is the willingness to extend ourselves for our own or someone else's spiritual development. If we can love ourselves and our partners that way, our relationship will flourish. And this type of review requires that type of love in order for it to work. So practice it. Extend yourself. Do uncomfortable things. Be honest with your partner in a way that you know is going to help them grow, not in an honest way that's mean. Step 2, acknowledging mistakes and apologies. So with Erika's dish resentment as the example, it's not about just saying I'm sorry. It's about doing the right thing the next time. It's called an amends. I'm amending something. I'm fixing something. And that's where this really starts to work, is that Erika can point out something that I messed up, but she took responsibility for her feelings of the resentment. But I can still look at that and be like, I love my wife. I want her to be happy. I want to love her. So the next time I see the dishes, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and just take 5 minutes and do that. Most of the time I have the time. Usually I don't do them because I'm just selfish and lazy. So get over myself and just do it.
Now, keep in mind, the apology doesn't have to be directly connected to a resentment that was brought up. It could be something that you're feeling inside that maybe you want to bring to the attention. An example off the top of my head is, hey babe, I felt like I was kind of short with you over coffee today. I don't know why, but I'm sorry if that offended you. They may or may not say, oh, I didn't even notice, or like, hey, thanks, I felt that.
Step 3, open communication.
Remember the definition of love? It doesn't always mean hearts flying out of your chest and butterflies everywhere. It also means having courage to share something that you're keeping inside that is causing dis-ease within us.
As a partner listening, try to remove the urge to give advice or share back immediately.
Listening without responding is a discipline. Adopting this style of listening will help you become less self-absorbed, like you can solve the whole world's problems all at once.
Only give advice if it's asked for. Or say, hey, I have a few thoughts about that. Do you want to hear it? Because a lot of times, if someone's openly sharing with us and we go right back to what we think they should do, we don't know. It's their journey, and we have to acknowledge, even in our partner, that they can figure it out, and if they want our help, they'll ask. Step 4, assessing kindness and love.
We invite you to reflect on your interactions with each other and others around you. Were you kind? Maybe you're a little rude. Probably shouldn't have cut them off on your way home from work, anything like that. And that's something that we can acknowledge together and work on it, or even address why. And that leads us to the next one. What could I have done better today?
Did we lash out at somebody, or did we handle a situation poorly? Well, this is the moment to reflect on that and say, well, I could have done this. I could have handled this situation better. Maybe if I would have just taken a deep breath, like calm myself down before reacting. This is the time to see that. And it's not even about making the change immediately. It's about just identifying it, because the next time it happens, we have more of a chance of catching ourselves. Step 6, self-centeredness or other-centeredness.
This is when you consider your own thought. Were you thinking about yourself the whole time, or were you thinking about how you could be helpful to your partner and other people around you?
Thinking about other people more than myself makes my own little problems and stresses seem a lot smaller, and they just kind of disappear when I think about how I can help somebody with their problems and their stresses and be there for somebody else. It's a way of releasing my own self-centeredness.
There's definitely a balance, caring for yourself so that you can care for others. Parents know if your cup is empty, you have nothing else left to give to your children, let alone your partner.
Step 7, positive contributions.
So this is the part where we think about how we positively contributed to each other's lives.
One thing that I've tried to be in the habit of is to ask Erika throughout the day, hey, is there anything that I can do for you right now? And that question is just, it's an incredible question if you ask on a daily basis. Did we do something for somebody? The last section was about where our thoughts were. This section is, what did we do?
Hey, you've done a lot today. How can I help tonight? Or is there anything I can do for you today? Things like that.
and we reflect on what we did or what we didn't do. Step 8, avoid negative thought patterns. And this is all about progress, not perfection.
So not all days are going to be great days. Those hard days are when the review is the most beneficial. You can acknowledge it, accept it, and then let it go and move on because tomorrow's a new day.
And there's a huge spiritual release in the spirituality of imperfection. Like, accept that part of us that's human, and it actually has a lot less power on us. Step 9, seeking forgiveness and planning for improvement. It's these little things that I can recognize throughout the day and say, there's something else that I can do that would improve me as a person, which then brings my best self, and that improves everybody around us, including our relationship.
Forgiveness can be a hard thing for some people, to forgive themselves or forgive their partner. But when you know your partner is genuinely trying to better themselves and listening and you feel heard, it comes a lot easier. And that's the beautiful thing about the nightly review. We encourage you to try to do this every single night if you can. You'll see a difference in your relationship and you'll see a difference in yourself, which of course makes a difference in the relationship.
So thank you so much for watching. Go onto our website if you want to download the nightly review. You can print it out, do whatever you want. There's also a really helpful blog that kind of gets into some more of these terms about like dishonesty, like I said, and examples of being selfish and all this other kind of stuff. So please like and subscribe if you got some value from the video. Thanks.